Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the poem My Hobby Reading, which was written by Arunachalam Chandrasekharan. Before that, just we can recall the last week portion, supplementary 1, about Jim Corbett, a hunter who turned naturalist. Now, let us see the outline of the story. Jim Corbett was a British wildlife photographer, hunter, tracker, naturalist, and writer. Already you know that he had hunted a lot of man-eating tigers and leopards in India. Though he was an expert in hunting, he admired wildlife very much. He did not like to kill animals for pleasure or sport. Then why did he hunt these animals? Because he had hunted these animals only to help people and at the request of the government. Okay. Now, what was his first hunt? Could you tell me, dear? Yes, his first man-eating tiger hunt was the Champavat tiger. It was a Bengal tigress which was responsible for nearly 436 deaths in Nepal and Kumaon area of India. Her attacks had been listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the highest number of deaths from a tiger. Then, how did Jim hunt the tigress? The tigress began her attacks in a Rupal village in western Nepal. The hunters were sent to kill the tigress. But what happened? She managed to escape from them. People were terrified to go into the forest to collect firewood, fruits, roots, and other things. Listen, children, people who are living in the hill areas, they are mainly depending upon the forest for their survival. Okay. For the safety of the villagers, the British government requested Jim Corbett to help the villagers. So he agreed to hunt the tigress. How did he shoot the tigress? Is it easy to shoot the tigress? No, because already she had managed to escape from many hunters, isn't it? So he camped in the Kumar district and started tracking the tigress. After several unsuccessful attempts, he managed to kill the tigress. For that, he organized a bait with about nearly 300 villagers with the help of the Tahsildar. The next day, he shot the tigress dead near the Chattar Bridge in 1907. Now, what do you know about Jim Corbett? Jim Corbett was always against game hunting. He gave lectures on the natural heritage and the need to conserve forests. Okay. Then he played a very important role for the establishing India's first national park, which is the Hailey National Park. Okay. This park was renamed as Jim Corbett National Park after his death. Now you can have a clear idea about Jim Corbett, isn't it? Now let us come to the poem My Hobby Reading, which was written by Arunachalam Chandrasekharan. This poem is written in 2010 by Arunachalam Chandrasekharan, who is a professional in library and information sciences. His deep association with the books in his library made him to write this poem on reading as a great hobby. Okay. Already you have studied about the different types of hobbies in prose 1. For example, we can tell gardening, cycling, painting, photography, writing, swimming, collecting stamps, playing video games, and listening songs, etc. Isn't it? Before seeing the poem, we can just understand the meaning of the hard words, which will be helpful to understand the theme of the poem. So, my dear children, listen the meanings carefully. First one, breeding. It means procreation. That means good manners. The second one, rational. It means intelligence. Third one, azar. It means slightly open. Fourth one, cackle, which means informal laugh. Fifth one, constructing, which means establishing or creating. The last one is vigorous. It means powerful. Okay. Now, let us come to the poem lines. My dear children, be attentive. Just look at the first stanza. My hobby is reading. It helps me in thought breeding. It takes me to places near and far. Once again, my hobby is reading. It helps me in thought breeding. It takes me to places near and far. Now, let us come to the meaning of the first stanza. Here, the poet declares in the first line itself that reading is his hobby, and he says that his reading hobby helps him to cultivate many good thoughts. These thoughts take him to near and far places. Okay. Next, let us come to the second stanza of the poem. It keeps my rational doors ajar. It teaches me to cackle and cry. Without wings, it lets me fly. Once again, it keeps my rational doors ajar. It teaches me to cackle and cry. Without wings, it lets me fly. In the second stanza, the poet expresses that his reading habit enables him to keep his mind unlocked and to permit intelligent, then logical reasoning. At the same time, yet prevents him from the bad and the wrong thoughts. Okay. Then the reading habit teaches him to accept the happiness and the sorrow in the same spirit. Then his reading habit does not control the thoughts of the poet. So, without wings, his habit allows him to fly high. Okay, let us come to the last stanza of the poem. Listen, children. I wish if all the children could read. In constructing a vigorous society, then we shall succeed. Once again, I wish if all the children could read. In constructing a vigorous society, then we shall succeed. In the last stanza, the poet insists that all the children should go to school and study. They have to be educated. Understand? So, there should be no illiterates. He strongly believes that if all the children are well educated, then they can build a dynamic, strong and powerful society. Okay, so if such society is created, once again, if such society is created, we shall succeed in our lives. Okay, so my dear students, we have to develop our hobbies which will be helpful to our successful career. Okay. Now, let us see the poetic devices here. First, the rhyming words. The rhyming words are the words which have the same sound. These words usually occur at the end of the lines in the poem, and they make poems or songs fun to sing. For example, upon a nice mid-spring day, let us take a look at nature's way. Breathe the scent of nice, fresh air. Feel the breeze within your hair. Here, the last word of the first two lines is day and way, which has the same sound. Then, the last word of the next two lines are air and hair, which have similar sounds. So, the rhyming words of this stanza is day and way. Next, air and hair. The second, we can see the rhyme scheme. A rhyme scheme is a specific pattern used in a poem. It is nothing but the arrangement of rhymes in a poem or a stanza. For example, the grass will poke between your toes. Smell the flowers with your nose. Clouds from shapes within the skies, and light will glisten from your eyes. In this stanza, toes and nose have similar sounds. Like that, we can denote them as A and A. Then skies and eyes have similar sounds. We can mark as B and B. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is A,